James, maybe it's coming home. Maybe it's coming home. No, look, in all seriousness, let's get into it. The game's just kind of finished. England won, Serbia nil. Now, you can take this a number of different ways. In my opinion, the conversation, you can take it as it's a clean sheet, it's 3 points, it's the best place to start. England, usually in their first game, they don't actually win in major tournaments. It's a draw, or they'll lose, and it's panic stations and all this kind of stuff. James, I just want to get your initial reaction, kind of overall, to England beating Serbia, in Schalke Stadium after all the stuff that's happened with the history of this English team. What did you make of England's performance overall? We'll get into the finer details throughout the video here.
A goal is a goal, a win is a win. No matter how it comes, win these games. You look at teams who've won major tournaments. Like I remember France when they won in like 2018 in the World Cup, Jack. They were terrible in the group stages. Only really kicked on after the Argentina game. Portugal in 2016 when they won the Euros, Jack. They were awful. They didn't win a game till the semi-final, Jack. So to me, it's about growing into the tournament again. When you see teams like Germany put on performances like they did, Spain put on performances like that, you want your team to be able to match that. I get that, but at the same time, get the job done, get the first two wins at the belt, and see where players are. I quite liked what Gareth Southgate did today with the team in like certain parts, and I felt certain players I'm a bit worried about going forward, but we'll get into that in a moment.
So let's talk about the man of the moment. Let's talk about, I think, the guy that has me feeling a different kind of way about an English talent, more different than I've ever felt before. Jude Bellingham. Um, I was sat there watching the game and I was like, man, kind of like young Rooney kind of had me feeling like this, but young Rooney was playing with kind of an anger and a ferocity about him that I kind of thought it's not sustainable. There's no class, there's no kind of silkiness to it. I never thought that Rooney's play style and what he was about was sustainable. Bellingham puffing his chest out, shoulder barging. I think it was Lukic or somebody like that. Like him having a bit of back and forth with Tadic at the age of 20, scoring the winning goal, also setting up that move by playing the pass out wide as well. James, also what I want to add to this, the reason why I think Bellingham's goal is so much more impressive than I think many people will think it was, this was not a clean Bukayo Saka cross that he could judge the flight of the ball, comes all the way to him and he scores. No, no, this hit like the bottom of the boot of the left back, bounced off the floor, then looped up. So he had to react and be nimble, get in his positioning to be able to even score the header. I'm seeing a player operate like I've never seen an England player operate before. Now, I think the whole idea here would be that is he going to get too ahead of himself? I'm not even saying that's this tournament. Is that in a couple of years' time? Is he going to really think that he's God's gift and there's a problem? That's a problem and a conversation later down the road. I'm seeing a guy, you use this phrase often, right? And it's kind of like an on-trend thing to say. He's him. He's the guy. He steps onto that field and he knows he's the best player on the field. And that's a field with some talented players on the Serbian team and on the England team. I mean, first of all, I don't know if you want to give a couple of lines on your opinion on Jude Bellingham. I mean,
Um,
I'm sure it's not
um,
negative.
Jack, listen, the guy, as you said, is him. I watch the guy, and the thing that like just sticks out to me is like it's like another version of Zidane. Everything is Jack. Everything is under control. Tight spaces, three, four players around me. Let me have it. Reverse step over. La Croqueta there. Drop a shoulder there. Jink in and out. It's beautiful to watch, Jack. Never once that he felt uncomfortable in any sort of scenario. Deep in his own half, on the edge of guys on the edge of the box. No matter where you gave this guy the ball, he was able to do the business. And just seeing what he can do for England right now, I think he's England's best player and the player that will does have the opportunity to take them to meet all the way. I look at somebody like Joao Musiala and the performance he had against Scotland. We all were glazing over that. Incredible. Glazing's a bit wild. Yeah, let's skip that one there. But Jude matched him. Musiala probably played a little bit better, but that debate right there is going hand in hand. And I look at Jude, and the thing that stands out to me, Jack, is the personality. It's to
Yes.
put the chest out, I'm him. And that move to Real Madrid is taking that personality that he already had to another level. He believes, because Jack, let's be honest, as great as England are, the level of Real Madrid is probably even higher. And he's going
Yeah.
in there thinking, "Ooh,
Yeah.
I can just match it even more." And I look at a player like Phil Foden, and I look at a player like Jude Bellingham, I just think the difference between them, it's just simple, it's simply personality. Jude is give me that ball, I'm the man, no matter where it is. I'm gonna pop out my chest, I'm gonna make things happen. While Foden has all the ability in the world, but he doesn't quite have that sort of arrogance that I am the best. And that's
So
what Jack, that's what's needed, honestly.
so it begs the question, and I'm going to throw it out there: is Foden a bench player for this England team?
Jack, based on what he
Because
did
look,
for
let me.
us,
I'm not going to have you bury him and then you get loads of hate. So I'll kind of say my piece before I let you kind of say yours. Um, James, yeah, I think he is. And I think, first of all, Cesc Fabregas is one of the best pundits I've ever seen. Why is he not on my television more and more and more? Did an unbelievable job for the BBC. Put Micah Richards and Rio Ferdinand in their place a couple of times when he was absolutely right too. Um, he doesn't have the personality to be a big player. If he doesn't have Guardiola telling him exactly what to do, if he doesn't have the safety blanket of Rodri, if he doesn't have the personality and the attention that Haaland gets, that De Bruyne gets, he can't do his thing. He is not that guy. He's very talented on the half turn, in little pockets, one, twos, all this kind of stuff. I I get that and I understand it, but I was at the pub talking to friends about this. I'm trying to think of a situation. Let's pretend Jude Bellingham doesn't exist. I'm trying to think of a situation and a team that actually suits what Phil Foden's good at. Because I don't think it's necessarily Anthony Gordon out on the left hand side. Because what Foden wants to do is carry, play little one twos, and then pull a cut back or do something or make that final man run, have a one on one, and just side foot it past the goalkeeper. I don't know if we have the kind of players to facilitate to custom build around a Phil Foden team. So what we need from players of exemplary top tier talent is to be able to puff their chests out, have a bit of personality, show what they're about, like Jude Bellingham does. The way I see
and
it, I think this England team performs better with Phil Foden not starting in it.
Jack, I feel like Phil Foden was so good last season. You have to find a way and be patient with him. It is the Iceland game. He got to play in the 10, and it wasn't good. And today wasn't good. But I'm going to be patient with him. I'm going to see what he's like in the next two games. And if it doesn't work out, then so be it. But my issue with it is that Gareth Southgate is going to be criticized for not getting the best out of Phil Foden. And to me, I call bluff on that because at the end of the day, Phil Foden, for the majority, if you look at his heat map or majority of it, he played on the inside. Yeah, granted, it's different when Rodri's passing you the ball, and Kevin De Bruyne is passing you the ball in half space, and you know that ball's coming to Declan Rice. But at the same time, Jack, he still picked up similar position that they would pick up for a team like Manchester City, and he wasn't effective. Yeah, my thing is when you can criticize a manager, but when players are having misplaced passes, underhit passes, passes behind the player, that's nothing to do with the manager. That's the player playing poorly. Yeah, I've seen at times you feel on the half term, you know it's bread and butter to him. He's miscontrolling it. That's not Phil Foden there. And maybe he's a guy where I look at players and I think international football and club football to me is two completely different things. When we
They
look at the
are.
all-time greats, when we generally look at the all-time greats, their international CV most of the time is fantastic. They rise for their nation. I mean, we've seen it with so many players. I look at so many players like Vinicius. I want to see him do for Brazil and Phil Foden right now. You want to see him rise for England because this is a similar thing to what happened against Croatia 4 years ago, where he was the guy that everybody pointed to, and it just didn't quite work out. But we can harp on about Phil Foden, Jack, and how poor he was. But I think there's a couple other issues that I had with England. I look at somebody like Trent Alexander-Arnold. The stats look nice, 80% percent of pass completion rate and all that there. But I seen 3 or 4 times, Jack, where he receives it and he loses it in
Yep.
not just all right areas, in bad areas. And
Bad
good teams
areas.
like a Germany, good teams like a France, they kill you in that situation there. In terms of you, positioning was all right at times, but I just know when he goes toe to toe with the best midfielders, Jack, he will get rings around them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
not saying that he can't do it, but it's gonna take time. Are you willing to risk it in this sort of tournament right now? I I appreciate what Gareth Southgate did because Jack, people say he's in bold. This is probably the boldest move that you could play, taking a
Definitely.
right back and playing him in centre mid, which he's never played before. This is a very, very bold move, and I appreciate him for doing that. But going forward, can England be successful with him playing in that position against the best teams? I don't think so, Jack. That there was one where in the first half where he receives it off he receives it and like he knows the pressure's coming from, but because he's used to facing the game, he can see the guy coming and he kind of panicked and he lost it and like Mitrovic nearly scored. I just said, that might not be it. And then the second half, he got robbed, very, very cheaply. So I look at this stuff and I'm like, I'm not sure that's gonna cut it at the international level.
No, neither am I. It's really scary. There's the odd switcher play and there's the odd ball we go, that's nice. And without him, I don't know if that pass gets played. I agree with you. I have not seen enough that outweighs the danger side of it. Losing it in that kind of it's the opposition team half space, right? So it's that just kind of 45-degree angle from full back and centre back where he's getting the ball to feet. Losing the ball there, it's challenge and then probably a first time slid through pass to a forward who's on the ball and on the ball mentally and then they're on the ball physically and they're it's a one-on-one with Jordan Pickford and yeah, I don't like it.
But
It's worrying.
Jack, I could harp on about bad things. I thought Harry Kane's performance wasn't great, but this is
No.
a trend from I've seen from Harry Kane on so many occasions where he starts off a tournament very, very slow and builds his way up. I've seen this last Euros, the World Cup, where he's scoring goals, but the performance isn't great. He, but
That
as much as
that
we can harp on how bad,
I just will say
yeah,
that if
as much as we
that
can
header
harp on,
goes in,
I was going to get, I
yeah,
was going to get into the good bit. As much as we can harp on about the bad stuff for England, Jack, there's a lot of good stuff that I need to praise. Saka, as you mentioned, incredible,
great.
especially in her first half. The amount of times
England's
he's gone.
England's reliance on Saka, I don't think can actually be understated at this point. It's taken me a while to get on board because I'm always found a little bit underwhelmed by him because I feel like some of the time he gets kind of lucky. I don't feel like he plays with what I would call conviction. So
Hmm.
he doesn't know what he's going to do and execute it and do it and you go like, "Oh wow." It almost doesn't look intentional what he's doing, but his ability to do it week in, week out, club, country, and England don't have players like Bukayo Saka. I think when you're talking about importance and players on the team sheet, I wonder if he's like number two or three in terms of importance on the team sheet. I don't think he can be underestimated and was great today.
Oh, oh, Jack, offensively, he was insane. The amount of times I'm seeing him taking on his man, dropping. So the thing about Saka is that he won't do anything that you're gonna be like, oh, that's
Right,
rude. Like he isn't that guy,
right.
it's very simple. It's a drop of the shoulder, maybe a little single leg step over down the line, little jink, cut inside, shoot. It's never ever spectacular from him, but it is effective. And Jack today he was absolutely brilliant at it, especially in that first half. It's disappointing to see him get taken off, but that first half and what he was able to bring Jack for England. Listen,
But James,
immense. And with the notion about Cole Palmer and him, you've seen why he plays. He's battle tested, Jack.
well, you know this as a coach as well, right? That's how adults beat defenders, right? If you want to do a
Hmm.
rainbow flick, reverse elastico, fake like, okay, you be my guest, that's fine. But you and I both know shifting somebody one way, shifting somebody the other way, and then actually going the other way
Effective.
just with the outside or inside of the foot, low center of
Most
gravity, and
effective.
beating a man. That's the way you do it. And James, he did that against very strong, very physically imposing defenders today, and he's going to have a much better time against quite attacking fullbacks who maybe won't have the ability to defend that some of the guys for Serbia did today. Go ahead.
I just want to also shout out a couple other people. Declan Rice in the midfield, Jack. I thought he was
Unreal.
absolutely immense in there.
Yeah.
Swept up everything on the ball, very assured. Did want to see him take a few more risk on it, but I don't think that's Declan Rice's game. But I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Big shout out to two other people that I got to call out. Mark Gahey. This
Great.
notion that England are going to suffer without the whole Harry Maguire thing is crazy. Because who Harry Maguire was in 2018 was what Mark Gahey is right now. And the difference is that Gahey's now getting his chance. I
Right.
guarantee you this, right? In terms of you of being an out and out mid defender, Gahey's as good of a defender as Harry Maguire. The only difference is that Harry Maguire's been there a couple more years, and I'm happy to see what like he was able to do today. In fact, he looked a lot more sure in the fence than a player like John Stones, who I felt was a bit ropey at times. Jack, getting pulled out of position, a couple missed kicks, and it looked a bit odd to him.
I,
Maybe the injuries kind of build up with him.
I don't think Stones liked playing with Trent. I
That
think
might
it
be a thing.
I think John Stones likes looking ahead of him and seeing Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri, and even for England, I think he likes looking at Declan Rice and even somebody like Conor Gallagher. Because okay, on the ball you might go, but defensively there's kind of okay, he's at least going to throw his body around and do the nasty stuff that he needs to do. I think John Stones gets nervous when he's got Trent in front of him, and I think that's going to be something that changes because we need a composed confident John Stones playing at the back if England are gonna do what they do.
I also think that Pep has made a couple of these men look better than what they actually are.
Oh,
But if I speak
oh
out, but if I speak, I'll get in trouble. I don't want to
no,
talk too much because I'll get in big trouble. But
you're
Jack,
right
one
though.
more shout out. Yeah, listen, one more big shout out, Jack. To me, I have to say Jordan Pickford. I feel when we're looking at him right now, there have been no questions. He's the number one. And Jack, we've seen year in and year out how tournament in tournament out, he's made these big saves, these big moments. Jack, today he was called upon. He made his save, and I felt he was very assured in there. So some good performances there. I don't think everybody should be throwing their hair about. My only
No,
thing about the control, that's the only thing that worried me, Jack, was that when England needed to keep the ball for I don't know 10 to 15 minutes or just 5 minutes where it was getting out of hand, they struggled to do that. It was more or less us buying fouls than just having a period where bang, you have it, we have it, bit of pressure there. We're gonna break that pressure. I didn't really see that there, and that worries me going forward against the best teams. Who, when Germany want to keep the ball and slow it down, they can. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Portugal can do that. Spain, we know they can do that. Jack, that's my only thing. But I think everybody should be take the point. I mean, take the 3 points, take the clean sheet, and you move on to the next game. With also, Jack, a lot to still build on.
I agree. And look, I thought Jared Bowen came on and was great, offered an incredible threat down that right hand side, and I actually think he complements somebody like Bukayo Saka very well off the bench.
Hmm. Hmm.
Did not love the Conor Gallagher substitution
I
at
knew that was
all.
coming.
Um, I just I don't mind him starting a game against a really tough opponent where he's got to kind of put a marker down and go, hey, you're not going to have an easy day today. I'm going to sit on you and I'm going to make your life hell. I don't mind Conor Gallagher doing that, and I love midfielders that do that. That's the way I see myself when I'm playing football, giving people a tough time. Kobbie Mainoo came on, James, and he looked like he'd been playing for 90 minutes already. I didn't see any sort of intensity for him to come on. If his instruction was come on, compose, calm the game, blah blah blah. He didn't get on the ball too much, so I didn't love that substitution. I really wanted to see Luke Shaw for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes. I don't know because James, what really changes this England team and what this England team can be in terms of going into the semi and maybe beating France or going into a final against somebody like Germany and winning in Germany, I think left back is a major concern. And you see it with Kieran. I'm super one-footed myself when I play football. Kieran Trippier does not like having the ball on his left foot. And I just found he was a good outlet at times, but I think Luke Shaw really changes this team dramatically if he's fit and he's playing. I would have just liked to see him get a run out so that we know what we're dealing with potentially in a week or so's time.
Jack, I don't know. Maybe it's just me in my head, and I'm going to leave it here. I'm a bit worried about Harry Kane going into the latter stages of the tournament, Jack. I think against physical players like a Rudiger, like especially let's say if he goes against the German or even the French, centre backs, I feel like he's going to struggle, Jack. I don't know.
James,
Right now with Kane, I just worry about him like having to play on the halfway line. It just because right now the biggest thing with Harry Kane, he holds it well and brings people into play. Doesn't seem as convincing as
no.
what he used to be, Jack. And I don't know. again, he will not get dropped. He's England's man. We know what he means to this England team. But I'm a bit worried on that going forward. But guys, we've been analyzing for a while, breaking down the game. Let me know how you feel, England fans. First win, um, 3 points, top of the group. Drew Bellingham played out of his skin, but a couple worries there. Let me know how you're feeling. Go on,
Well,
bash Southgate in the
the
comments.
way
Yeah.
the way the Euros is set up too, all you need to do is win one game and you're through to the knockouts anyway. So England are already through to the knockouts. Happy days.
But guys, let us know what you think about the performance and going into the Denmark game. Will you stick with the same starting 11? Comment down below. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. And if you appreciate me and Jack, smash everything. And we'll see you guys next time.